Hey everybody, Chris Martinez here, host of Operation Agency Freedom. Today we are going to be talking about employee readiness, and specifically, we're going to be talking about what you need to look for when hiring a manager. So that manager can be like a project manager, can be an account manager. It could also be somebody who's on your leadership team. That's one of the highest level managers that you can have in your company. So if you're looking to put people into place into these types of management roles, definitely listen to this episode. We're going to be talking about 4 of the 6 readiness indicators that we look for and that we advise you all look for as well. So we'll be talking about that, talking about any red flags, basically just give you a really good overview so that when you're doing your hiring and looking for the right people, that you check all the boxes and you make sure that you're bringing on the best team members that are going to help you move the business forward and help you avoid making these mistakes. It can be very costly, put you back months and months if you don't bring on the right people. So, that being said, let's head over to the episode. All right. Welcome, welcome. For those that are curious, I am now almost at week 2 post surgery. For those that don't know, I tore my ACL. I think it was December 5th. I was training for a tournament that I signed up for last minute and decided, you know what, I'm going to go take a judo class that a bunch of my friends were at. And I, very, very novice judo, novice at jujitsu, but I have much more experience there. So, anyways, I was going to learn some judo, and literally, we were sparring, and literally, as the timer is going off, I got swept by my buddy, and I'm falling, and my foot kind of gets stuck on the mat, and basically, I heard a couple pops, and scheduled the appointment the next day to see the orthopedic surgeon. Got an MRI the next day, and then got the results back, and it was torn. About 70% is what they thought at first. Once he got in and did the surgery, he learned that it was much more than that. It was 80% plus torn. So I had the surgery on December 18th. So it's a little bit past then. I think we're at the 28th. So I'm technically 10 days post surgery. I'm walking around. I don't have much pain, obviously, limited mobility. My knee is gigantic. So there's still a lot of swelling, and we're working on getting that down, but overall, feeling pretty good. So that's how my health, my life has been. Painful to be not able to be able to do the sports that I love to do, but shit happens. What can you do? So hopefully able to return in 6 months. Most people it's between 6 and 9 months, but we'll see. I do believe that I'm superhuman, so we'll see what I can do. Anyways, you're not here to learn about my ACL. You're here to learn about employee readiness. So let's talk all about that. So, what is employee readiness? Let me just define it for you really quickly. I mean, it's kind of like you kind of know what it is just by that term, employee readiness. It basically means if somebody is ready for the next role. And specifically, what I'm going to talk about today is management. Your managers are crucial to your business. If you put the wrong managers in place, I guarantee you that will hold you back. So, what's really, really difficult, and I'm just going to tell you from experience, is as you're building out your team, when you're small, it's basically you, and then you have a level of managers, and then there's the people below them, right? And so, like the messages that you cascade out to everybody, usually you can still pass on those messages yourself directly to those employees. So those managers in the small environment that are basically one level below you, it's easy to control and make sure that those people are holding their people accountable and cascading down the correct message. What gets harder, like insanely harder, is when you have a level of manager. So there's one level below you. Sorry, let me explain this. So there's one level of management below you. So usually that's like your leadership team. And then there's another level of management below them. And then there's let's just call them frontline employees. That is where it gets really, really tough, right? Because there's a layer of management between the leadership team and the frontline employees. And in bigger companies, I've yet to run one or own one, or that there's even more levels of management below. But I would say, from my experience, that first second tier management level is really, really hard. It's really hard to make sure that what you want to get done at the top is actually happening down at the bottom. It's kind of like that telephone game where, we've all played it as a kid. Say a message to somebody, and then they have to say the message to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. And by the end, by the time it gets back to you, it's been distorted already, and it's not even remotely close to what you originally said. And so, what I want to talk about today is employee readiness, specifically for managers, so that we can make sure that we're putting the right management staff in place, so that you can avoid these headaches when you're having, whether that be leadership team or second tier management, whoever that is. These are the things that I'm going to recommend that you look for in your hiring process. Why are we bringing that up now? January, February, that's what's coming up. Basically, it's the busiest sales months of the year for marketing agencies. And that's because all these clients, they're out there and they're like, this is the year, like this is the year that I'm going to put that marketing whatever in place and I'm going to generate all these leads and my revenue is going to grow. And so that's when people are making most of their buying decisions at the beginning of the year. And so you, as marketing agencies, capitalize on that. And then, of course, that facilitates needing to hire more people, and the business is going to expand. So let's talk about there's 6 readiness indicators. I'm going to give you 4 of them. So the first one is, can they do their job now? So this is assuming that they're an internal hire. You can still do some things to see if they're, hitting their goals in their job. If they're an outside hire, I do recommend that you hire from within if possible. That's always best. So let's just assume that they work for us now, and so we're going to look and are they able to perform? Like, are they doing the things that they need to be doing now? Are they hitting their deadlines? Are they hitting all their KPIs, whatever that may be? Can they do their job now? Why do you think that this is so important? Well, if this person gets promoted and they're not hitting their deadlines and they're not hitting their objectives, what do you think the rest of the team members are going to think? They're going to think that it was an unfair hire. They're going to think that somebody else got snubbed or that there was favoritism or nepotism or something. And that's going to ultimately undermine their ability to lead. And it's also going to undermine your ability to lead because you compromise trust. So I say this all the time is that you got to hire with facts and not feelings. And so one of those things is you look at what are they supposed to do in their job description and are they checking off all the boxes? Are they doing things in the timeframes that we need? Are they hitting the deadlines? Everything, right? That's the first thing that you have to look at. There should be no question in anybody's mind as to whether that individual that becomes a manager can do their job. So this is the easy one, I would say. Can they do their job? You have to look at that. You have to look at it with facts and not feelings. It's one of the reasons why we encourage everybody to have a written down job description in the company so that we can make these decisions with facts and not feelings. So that's number 1. Can they do their job now? Number 2 is, how do they act in meetings and company events? So why do I bring this up? So your management team is going to be a reflection of you, right? And the values of the company. And so you want to look and see if people are paying attention in meetings. You want to see if they're showing up on time. You want to see if they're participating in the events that or like the activities that you do. You want to make sure that they are respectful of other people and that they're engaged, right? So those little details will tell you a lot. You will see that when somebody sees that they're up for a promotion, then they start showing up to meetings on time and they're participating and they're asking questions. No, that's not what we want. We want to see their integrity. We want to see how you act when nobody is watching. That's what integrity is. Like in sports, for example, like we want to see all the work that you're doing off the field when the coaches aren't around. How do you act? How do you carry yourself? What are the activities that you're doing to improve? So this is kind of like a reflection of that. Is we want to see how does this person act during meetings and company events and things like that. That will let us know if they're ready. If they only straighten up and pay attention and follow the rules, when they know that they're up for the job, it's not the right person, right? We want to see people that are engaged and have the right attitude when there's nothing on the line. So that's number two. Number three is related to core values. So let's just assume that you have written down core values. Let's just assume that you have 6 of them. One of our core values is find the fun, right? I think that's the sixth core value. So we have 6 of them. So let's say that you have the person. Let's say we're looking at like a Google sheet or something, and so on this row you have the person's name, and then on the columns you have each of your core values. So our first one is Band of Misfit Toys. So the first one is Band of Misfit Toys. And then it goes Be the Spark. And then it goes, and so you just keep on going. And so the last one is Find the Fun. So as a company, we agree that when we're hiring somebody or we're looking to, even when we're doing our evaluations, like semi-annual or annual evaluations, we say if you're going to be an employee of this company, you have to check, just say 4 out of the 6 core values, right? So, Band of Misfit Toys, do they check that box? Yes. Do they check the next box? Yes. We will accept 4 out of 6 if you're an employee. If you are a manager, and especially if you're a leadership team member, you have to check all 6 of those boxes. 100% of the core values have to be checked. Now, you as the owner, just so you know, you as the owner, you have to check all 6 all the time. You don't have the luxury of slipping on a few of those. You have to check all those boxes all the time. This is what you signed up for. It's very, very difficult. Yes, I understand, but sorry, this is the life you chose. So, as we're evaluating team members, 4 out of 6 is okay. But if they're going to be a manager, they have to check all 6 of the boxes. So you look back at their history of working with the company, and you basically see, like, do they check this box? Do they check this box? Do they check this box? Um, and if they don't check all the boxes, they're not ready, right? The reason why this is so important is because, again, you're going to be cascading down messages from the leadership team or from you through the leadership team and then down to them. And so they're going to have more interaction with the frontline employees than you are. You need to make sure that they have the right attitude and the right values, because I have seen both internally and externally how there's a massive disconnect in values between the management and the owners and the leadership team. And when that happens, companies don't move forward. Employees leave. Good employees will leave because they're being mismanaged by people that aren't actually living up to the values that we say that we live up to internally. And so super, super important that you evaluate them and you look at their values. Management needs 100%. 6 out of 6. If you guys got 6 values, 6 core values, the managers have to check all 6 of those boxes without exception. That was number 3. Let's get into the fourth one. This is probably the most controversial. Now, let me preface this by saying we are doing studies to see what does a successful agency owner look like. When I say success, obviously there's many, many different metrics for success. So one of the things that I look for when I say success is financial success. Is the company profitable? And is the owner making good money? Right? So that's one of the metrics that we look for when we're classifying a successful agency and looking at the owners of those successful agencies. Now, still early studies, but one of the things that we're seeing is that owners of successful marketing agencies, they have very good personal credit. I would say we're still trying to, figure out how to articulate this and what this means, but I would go on record saying that most likely if you can take care of your own money, it's a lot easier for you to take care of the company's money. Okay? When we are looking at hiring managers, and this is especially with leadership team members, there is a financial metric tied to their KPIs. So if it's operations, It's the cost of goods, right? They have to be able to get all the work done for a certain within a certain budget, right? So that budget is their cost of goods budget. So that's their financial metric. If it's the finance team, obviously they're in charge of finance, so all their metrics are numbers. HR is, how much is it costing us to recruit people? How much is it costing us to train people? Um, the customer experience team comes down to retention, right? So like, are we retaining our clients and maximizing the lifetime customer value? They also have budgets for team members and stuff like that. All the departments actually have budgets for that. Marketing, right? How much are we spending to acquire a client? How much are we spending on our own marketing? Sales, they have revenue targets, right? They also have budgets for what they can spend for closing deals. And so all of these heads of departments, they all have financial metrics tied to their responsibilities. So, with that being said, what I want you to do, and this is where I get controversial, is I want you to see or ensure that the person who gets the promotion to that management role treats the company money as if it's their own. And so, how do we do that? Super simple way that I recommend: check their credit. Check their credit, run a credit check, and see how their credit score is. Now, does it mean that if somebody has a 600 credit score that they're not totally qualified? Not necessarily. I do want to figure out what's going on though. Did they learn from that lesson? Or are they basically just head in the sand, hoping that one day they can do it? They can dig their way out of it. I do believe it's super, super important that you check their credit though, because if they can't manage their personal finances, most likely they will not be able to manage your company's finances. And if anything, it's going to be worse because it's not their money, right? If they haven't mastered budgeting their own money, if they come to you and you give them a budget, they're probably going to screw it up. They're probably going to be blowing money like nobody's business because at the end of the day, it's not their money. So this is very, very important. I know it's controversial. Now, I will tell you, the people that have pushed back on this, the agency owners that have pushed back on this, are the ones who do not have financially successful agencies. This is what I've seen. If they're very anti this, it's usually because the owner has bad credit or has had credit problems. And so he or she doesn't feel comfortable holding people to that standard when they can't personally live up to that standard themselves. So, what does this mean? This means that if you're that owner, you need to get your finances in order, right? I have had bad credit twice, and I've had to go and fix it twice. And I can tell you that when I fixed my credit, my company also was more profitable and I ended up making more money. So I'm not saying this to like make somebody else feel bad or make you feel bad if you're in that bad credit box right now. But it is very, very important. You need to hold people to the highest standard and you need to hold yourself to an unbelievably high standard as the owner. And so if you are looking to put people into a management capacity, you need to make sure that they treat the company money as if it's their own. And that means that they also have to have very good personal responsibility when it comes to finance. They need very simple, check their credit, right? If they have a terrible credit score, they have a ton of like outstanding bills, they're late on everything, that is not the right person. My personal opinion. So this is the controversial one, I'll tell you that, because it's very difficult for people uh, that are not financially savvy or that have had personal finance problems in the past. It's very, very difficult for them to hold people to that standard. But I'm telling you, if it's a manager, you have to do it. Otherwise, it's going to set you back. Hiring the wrong manager will set you back months, sometimes even years. Because if they screw up, the company's not going to hit its goals. You're probably going to lose some team members, right? Because they're going to mismanage them. And then you're going to have all the headaches of trying to replace people. And eventually you're going to have to let them go anyways. And then you're going to have to start from scratch and retrain. And then who's going to do the work while you're recruiting and training the replacement? You, of course, you're the one who's going to be filling in those gaps. So just do me a favor, Follow these 4 readiness indicators when you're looking at evaluating managers, and just hold people to these standards. I'm telling you, it will save you so much time and headaches later down the road. Just follow this. There's 2 more. We offer this to our clients, but I'm just giving you 4 really, really important ones that you can start using now. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and let me know. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Hey, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe to the podcast and also share it with friends, family, and basically anyone you know who will find the same value in this episode as you do. So, to get the latest from me, then let's connect on social media on the Facebooks at facebook.com/dude agency or Instagram at dudeagency.io. Then you can also find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and even TikTok. Yes, I'm that cool. We are on TikTok. Finally, go to our website at dudeagency.io, where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. Register for live trainings on how to run a highly profitable agency, and you can see exactly how we help marketing agencies fix their operations and scale to 8 figures and beyond. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time.